Softbox in loop position with strip softbox as a hair light. So for this setup, instead of using the second light as a rim light or background light, we're using it as a hair light. It's a kicker to pop the subject out from the background. So the main light is a 3-foot Octabox placed off to the side to create loop lighting on the face. And then the second light that is added is a 1x4 strip softbox, which is boomed out behind the subject pointed towards her hair. So the way that it's angled and the way that it's centered is going to give nice light on the top of the hair and then a little bit on the side of the hair and the shoulders. So this gives her nice separation and it looks like multiple lights. In fact, it looks more like 2 or 3 additional lights to this scene. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a shot so you can see what it looks like, and then I'm going to build and show you some of the considerations. All right, so right now, I take this shot. I love how it has this kind of glowing angelic effect. Hair lights are often used for a more cinematic look. If you want it to look like motivated lighting in a location, they'll often have an overhead hair light because there would be an overhead light in a location like a ceiling light. So that's why it gives you that kind of effect. All right, now as I look at this shot, one problem that I see and that you may encounter is I have a little bit of lens flare. I don't have a lot, but what you want to do is you want to make sure your lens is clean. You want to use your lens hood, or if you're still getting lens flare, you can actually use your handy cinefoil to block the light for you. So I'm actually going to attach it to the top of my lens and it will act like another shade. All right. So I didn't have too much lens flare, but this will just give me a little bit more contrast to my image. Perfect. All right, so let me show you what the scene looks like when I turn off the hair light. Let's do this. Okay. So this image is just a well-exposed shot of soft light with a loop lighting position, but there's no separation. And usually what we do is we point a light at the background, or we add a rim light, or we add a reflector. But in this case, we're adding a hair light. So let me turn that back on. Beautiful. Perfect. So just a couple other things that you might consider. This is an instance where you'll likely need a boom arm. And so you'll notice that I don't have to own multiple boom arms. I have my main light just on a regular stand. If I needed to have my light more centered, I'd put it up real close next to my lens, so I don't need to buy a lot of extra gear. But you want to be careful that the light is not too top heavy. You want to make sure your stand is a really strong and stable one. And if it's not, you're going to want to use a lot of sandbags. So you might want to use sandbags anyway for stability so the light doesn't tip over. So these are a couple things I'm thinking when I set this up. Also, I don't need to have that hair light really, really tall, which would create a problem if I didn't have high ceiling. So if I actually look at this shot, it's just barely out of my scene, and you can vary the placement to work in whatever space you're working with. There are other ways to work around this, and this is actually why some photographers have the track lighting, so the lighting above that they can move around so they don't have to worry at all about having boom arms. That may be a solution for you, especially if you're in a smaller space, so you don't want to have a lot of space taken up by stands and boom arms like you'll see in this scene. So to summarize what I have here, I have one main light source, which is soft, in this case a 3-foot Octabox. I have a hair light boomed out from behind. If I used a bare bulb, it would create really specular hard light, almost like a sunlight look. But by using a strip softbox, a 1x4 strip softbox, it gives this beautiful, soft, and heavenly glow. When I meter my lights, right now that hair light is just a little bit brighter than my main light. And that's going to make it pop and have a little bit more shine. If you'd like, start with them at equal power, and then turn it up if you want it brighter, turn it down if you think it should be more subtle.